Ladies and gentlemen, Donald Trump has won and become the next president of the United States, and the whole financial market has now sent into an earthquake. Many things gone up, some things gone down, and things are really not the same as before. Let's watch on, and I'll give you a blow by blow of why things gone up, why things gone down, and my view of where things should be. Let's watch on, shall we? These are my usual disclaimers, and let's go. The S&P 500, the NASDAQ, Dow Jones Index, or American Index for a stock market has gone up phenomenally in one day. The S&P 500 has broke 5,900 points and now heading towards 6,000 points. It's gone up by 2.5% in one day. The NASDAQ has went up by 3%, 2.95% in one day. And the Dow Jones Industrial Average has gone up by 3.5%. This is unheard of for a long time, right? This is a massive bull run in a big way, and I think we should see more of this kind of a bull run all the way to the end of the year in a big way. A few days ago, Tom Lee said that the S&P 500 will hit 6,000 points, and he's right. He's directionally heading towards there right now. We're just a breath away, and I thought that, this guy is against smoking weed, and every time he's smoking weed and he just came out right and again and again and again. That's amazing. Question is, why did the stock market react so positively? Anyone ask, isn't Donald Trump a very unusual kind of president? Why does the stock market react so positively? Well, it is because primarily Donald Trump has promised that he would cut corporate tax rate, and this straight away would improve the profitability of the company. So he has suggested cutting corporate tax rate to 15%. And you need to take note, 15% is even lower than Singapore corporate tax rate, which is already very low. Currently, right now in US, the corporate tax rate is at 21%. He actually expressed a direction to cut it all the way to 15%. And if that will be true, okay, that will be a significant increase in profitability of many companies. And he has also promised to do more deregulation, right? Regulations are very costly for businesses. Deregulation is removing many of the corporate red tapes. And Donald Trump promised that there will be more deregulation. And this is a very good thing for business. So he not only vowed to cut corporate tax rate to 15%, he also vowed to eliminate 10 regulations for every new one during his campaign. So if you want to impose one new one, you have to remove 10, right? That's a new direction he has. He has also promised sweeping changes to the country's regulatory body, which have pursued tougher banking rules under Joe Biden. He pledged to fire regulators, including the Security and Exchange Commission, Gary Gensler. He said on the first day he will get rid of him. So this one also lift up the entire stock market in a big way. And we'll talk about Bitcoin in a short while as well. Unfortunately, not everything went up, right? So bonds, especially long-term prices, went down significantly. And my favorite TLT, which I've taken some position in, has gone down as much as 2.7% in one day. And a lot of people asking, I thought, Mr. Lu, you say the bonds will go up. Yes, under one circumstances, right? And I'll explain what these circumstances is. Long-term bonds prices should go up with falling interest rates. And the Federal Reserve has actually promised to lower the interest rate significantly, across the next 1 to 2 years. Unfortunately, Donald Trump is threatening a lot of trade wars and crackdown on illegal immigrants. This thing could lead to inflation, right? Because increase the cost of material, imports, and labor. Now, trade war is something that he has done it before and most likely will do it again with especially China, which US import a lot of things from China. And when he do that, the cost of import will go up a lot. Now, the cost of labor is something that also gone down a lot because there are a lot of illegal immigrants that's working in US, but he promised to deport many of these away back into the country where they're coming from. This is seen as an inflationary policy. As a result, inflationary pressure will lead to an increase in interest rate and therefore be very bad for bonds, right? So the whole stock market react in anticipation of that happening. And that's very bad. In the same breath that interest rate is expected to maintain high or go down slower, the US dollars as a result also went up, right? So for Singapore dollar is now it's gone up significantly. to 1.33 Singapore dollar to one US dollar. And many of your portfolios, just for no reason, also went up because of that. And that is something that is really a result of anticipated increase in inflation and therefore anticipated increase in interest rate. Now, not only did bonds prices fall, gold prices also fell. And that's very interesting. Now, why did gold prices fall? It's because Trump has outright said that he will end the war in Russia and Ukraine within 24 hours. Of course, that's election propaganda, or I would say election bullshit. And outright Russia say this thing is not going to end so easily. But basically, everybody really believed that Trump can really end the war between Russia and Ukraine. And I also believe that it doesn't mean he'll end it fairly, but he'll end it. And everybody believes that will happen. Everybody also believed that he could end a Middle East war as well. As a result, gold prices fell significantly across the last 24 hours or so. Trump also could give Israel the green light to hit at Iran nuclear sites, okay? And he's very gung-ho. And Iran is really fearful of that happening. So most likely Iran will come to the table or at least send some signal and say, okay, I'll back off from this whole Middle East chaos as well. So with this happening, maybe there'll be some venue of peace for Middle East. And when there are peace and less war, gold prices will go down. And not to forget, right, in an election speech in October, Trump has stated his unwillingness to go to war with Iran, but he said that Israel should hit Iranian nuclear first and worry about the rest later. So it's very gung-ho, right? Therefore, Iran ought to be fearful. And during his term, U.S. Embassy in Israel has moved from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. And that's a very significant thing. And I'll be frank with you, I think everyone in Israel loves Donald Trump. I'm not too sure whether it's a good or bad for some people, but for the war going on in Middle East, hopefully this will bring everybody to a table and then bring some peace or some form of peace. It's outright say that Ukraine may have to cede some territory to Russia to end the war. And he said that he could solve, even now I could solve that in 24 hours. And then it's not difficult, right? Just give up a lot of land and almost to a point of a surrender. That's not something that many of us like, but that could end the war. Yes, that could end the war. That's it. Russian officials from President Vladimir Putin has said that it made no difference to Moscow who win the White House, but clearly they show a preference for Trump, right? They floated the idea that there could be a reset with US after Trump declares victory. It's a question of how much Trump would be forced to give to the war. He's stubborn, but the system is stronger. In an interesting turn of event, Bitcoin rose significantly by 10% to a record high of $76,000. And everybody is wondering, wow, Bitcoin is going to roof. And some people say it will hit 100,000 soon. And I think that's a possibility. But why is it so? Well, that's because Donald Trump promised to fire the current Security Exchange Commission chairman, who is very aggressive on crypto regulation. He said that on day one, I will fire Gary Gensler, okay? And that's the SEC chairman who has taken an aggressive approach towards crypto regulation. Now, the truth is he doesn't have the power to do so, but it will give him a lot of difficulty, right? So I think that's something very interesting that we'll see happening. And no wonder a lot of the crypto bulls are making a hell of money right now. And he also promised that the government will keep the Bitcoin that was seized from financial criminals, because currently right now, once the government sees these assets, he sell them and trigger price drop. So basically, he's actually pro crypto. So it's something that he has promised to do that. And I think it's viewed very positively for the crypto industry. So moving forward, Mr. Lu, what will happen, right? It's kind of difficult to say because there's a lot of voice, there's a lot of noise, there's a lot of music to some people. Maybe there's a lot of hot air as well. So moving forward, what will happen? My view is this. So a lot of things are hinged on whether his policy that could be inflationary will turn inflationary. And one should take a look at the trade war in 2018, 2019. When he increased all those tariffs on China, there wasn't a significant increase in inflation, right? So it may not turn inflationary as everybody expects, but we also need to be mindful that he's considering higher tariffs and tariffs on more goods this time, so the impact could be different. But I also like to say again that inflation is a sustained increase in prices, not a one-off jump. So I think what Donald Trump would like to do is a one-off jump, but I don't think that necessarily will happen in a trade war of that measure we're talking about. Hard to say, but this is my take. So a good friend of mine asked me, what will happen moving forward, and is it time to sell? Is it time to buy? I'll just say this: I cannot tell you what you should do. What I have at hand, I will not sell. What I don't have, I will not pursue. Okay, I will not buy, and top wait and see. So already, while all the assets are rising phenomenally, I got to be happy in that. But I will not chase any bull runs. Okay, but things have crashed. Okay, I have a view that there's a chance, not 100%, that there could be a rebound if there is proven that the inflation is not going to come, right? So let's watch and see, shall we? Okay, let me hear your views. And for those people who are pro Donald Trump, congratulations. And those people who are pro Harris, I'm sorry that didn't happen. Okay, but you know what? We are pro money, right? Whoever get elected, that's a different matter. If you are sitting on asset has gone up, congratulations. You're sitting on asset has gone down. Maybe you want to take a view of what my views are as well. Okay, thank you, and I'll see you in a day or two. Bye bye.